Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, August 1st, and I'm going to do another shop video because it occurred to me as I was making the video that I did yesterday on the data hoarding that I don't think I ever really talked about on video why we have all the security problems we do and why all these security breaches are happening. So today I'd like to address why we're having all these big breaches and what can be done about it. For those of you that saw my video, Don't Get Used by Your IT Firm, and if you haven't seen that video, especially if you are a business owner and you haven't seen that video, please go back and watch it. I will provide a link to it in the description. If you've seen that video, then you know that I talk about the high rates that IT companies generally charge, and I believe I touched on a little bit about how high security trained IT guys get, but I'm going to go into a little more detail on that now. Security trained IT guys, to have one of those firms come into your firm and go through your security, usually you're going to pay a rate of $300 per hour or higher. Now, you're probably saying, whoa, that's a crazy amount of money. And yes, it is. A lot of businesses, and even a lot of large corporate entities, don't like to spend that kind of money. Especially in these large entities, because a security audit in a large entity can take many hours, and at $300 an hour, it's going to add up really fast. Especially if the security firm has no one local and they have to travel to get to the site. Things are going to add up really, really quick. Along with this money, it can be difficult to justify to a business owner or a corporate board of directors these extreme costs. And you're probably saying right now, well, the costs pale in comparison to having a security breach, having 100 million users details breached, and then having to pay identity theft protection for 100 million people. And yes, you're right. But the problem is that no one really explains all this to a board of directors or a business owner in an English format that can be understood at their level. A lot of IT guys are god-awful at trying to explain these advanced concepts on a level that a business owner or a board of directors can understand. And my apologies to those of you that are not terrible at it. I will relay a quick story. I once saw our town IT contractor try to explain what was going on with our town servers to our board of finance so he could justify the cost of having 2 new servers brought in. And I could understand what he was saying, but nobody at the table could understand what he was saying. And he was getting repeated questions to bring it down to English, and he just couldn't do it. And I'm going to tell everybody on this video something. It was getting hot in there that night. there were people that were starting to get very, very upset. So if it doesn't get brought down to an English level, then it's going to be almost impossible for a board of directors or a business owner to really understand how vulnerable they are and what could potentially happen to their business. This is where the Litchfield County Computer does really good. I have the human scale pricing that I've talked about before. My highest field rate is $85 an hour, and that's for when more extensive travel is involved. I'm also very good at bringing advanced concepts down to a level that a business owner or a corporate board of directors can understand, so they really know what's going on with their digital assets inside their company and can make informed decisions. When you don't have these two things going on, what you do have is you have a culture inside a company where a lot of stupid mistakes get made. And out of all the security breaches that I've seen, both in 10 years of doing this and 36 years of being around computers in general, all these security breaches, when you analyze them and you start looking at the details of what happened, it all boils down to one thing: human error. Some human, somewhere along the way, made a mistake. And sometimes it's multiple humans making multiple mistakes. And I'm not blaming those humans. Those humans may honestly not know any better. It happens. But education about security is the first line of defense. And education about what is a good thing to do and what isn't a good thing to do is your first line of defense. Because if you know what isn't a good thing to do, hopefully you will correct those situations inside your company or have someone else correct those situations inside your company, and you will get your company on a more secure footing and be less likely to have a chance of a data breach, or even worse, a hack that an attacker uses to hack into a bigger company. And believe it or not, this happens a lot. Example, Target. Everybody remember that Target hack? Do you guys remember how it happened? No? Well, I'm going to tell you. It happened because Target's HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning company got breached. And their computers had automatic access to Target's computers, so they could drop invoices directly into Target's accounts payable system when they did work. And Target's computers got breached in that way. Does anybody remember Home Depot and all these other stores that got hacked? Well, the reason we had those hacks was because all of your credit card scanners, the registers, all tie in usually to a desktop computer at the back of the store that ran Windows XP, that ran out of date antivirus, that hadn't had human attention in probably years, and just ran and ran and ran. And then it got infected with a specific piece of malware called a RAM scraper. And what a RAM scraper does is it looks for certain information, gathers it up, and then sends it out to a third-party email address. And that's how these big breaches at the stores were happening. Chip and pin is helping with this, but chip and pin, guys, is not a cure-all. We've had warnings from Europe where chip and pin was invented that have been telling us, look, our US partners and friends, chip and pin is not a cure-all. We've had problems ourselves that couldn't be solved by a modern chip and pin credit card. I hope you find this video educational as to how and why these big breaches are occurring. And as always, rate, comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see everyone next time. See you soon. Bye-bye.